Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to chat about some new beauty releases. I love watching these kinds of videos, so it's something that I like to do as well because it's just interesting to talk through the makeup that is coming out at the moment and decide whether it's something I'm interested in or I might buy or I would buy if I had the budget for it, that kind of thing. So we're going to do that today. If you like this video, please give me a little thumbs up, a comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, you might consider doing that maybe. I'm going to do things a little bit differently today than I usually do with this kind of video. I normally just go on to the new makeup releases accounts on Instagram and just scroll through and see what takes my fancy. But this time I have kind of taken some notes. I have looked at what is coming out and I've kind of been a little bit more selective and kind of thought about it a little bit more and kind of made note of prices and shade ranges and that kind of thing. It's not going to be hugely different, but it's just not as kind of in the moment as it normally is. So maybe that's a good thing, I don't know. But yeah, let's just get started. So a lot of the products that I'm going to talk about today have already been released. I may have already seen reviews. If it's something that's just been announced and I haven't seen reviews of it, I'm obviously just going off like probably one or two pictures. But in this case, I've seen reviews of some of these products, so that has kind of influenced my thought process a little bit more. Last week, the Isamaya core palettes were released. This is the Core Palette 1.0 and the Core Palette 2.0. These were teased a couple of months ago. People were excited because a lot of people really loved the first two industrial palettes and they really were kind of disappointed that they were limited edition. She has brought out the two industrial palettes in new and improved forms. There are 14 shades in each of these palettes, and there were 14 shades in the originals. And in the Core Palette 1.0, there are I think 10 shades from the original palette and then 4 are new. I wasn't sure when I first saw the pictures of these palettes which ones were going to be replaced and which ones we weren't going to get back. But now that we know, I'm kind of a little bit disappointed. I wasn't planning on buying the new industrial one palette because I already have the industrial palette. It is 3 years old at this stage, so it's maybe not going to perform as well as it did, but it still works and I'm not going to stop using it as of right now. So I don't need to buy a new version of that palette. And also 2 of the shades that are like 2 of my favorite shades in the palette are no longer in that palette. So the shades that are missing from the new Core 1.0 palette are Machine, which is like that flaky silver, Cuprum or Cuprum, I don't know how you say that word, which is that kind of warm brown with the like gold shimmer. That was like one of my favorite shades in that palette. That's gone. Diesel, which is the deep navy, is gone. I'm not really like too worried about that. There's like 2 like dark shades in the palette and they kind of both do the same thing. And then one of the greens, and I can't figure out which green it is. It's like there was like loads of greens in that palette, so one of them is gone and it's been replaced with another green as far as I can tell. I've watched some TikToks of people swatching both palettes side by side because they're supposed to be the same shades but just upgraded formulas. I wanted to kind of see were they actually the same. Now some of them are bang on like the exact same shades and then some of them are slightly different, which is, you know, with the new formula they're never going to be exact because you're using different ingredients. For the most part they're similar enough that when you put them on your eyes you're probably not going to see much of a difference. But yeah, so I was kind of disappointed that 2 of my favorite shades were gone. They have put 4 new shades and the 4 new shades actually look really nice. When I've seen them swatched, they look lovely. They're kind of gone with more like purpley blues, which are shades that weren't in the original industrial palette. So the one thing I would say about that is it feels like the palettes are quite similar to each other now. I know there was lots of different talk about the packaging of these palettes and how they look like a bean, they look like a kidney. I think they are supposed to kind of look like a kidney, and they kind of have that like bedpan vibe. They look very kind of medical, like medical equipment. Initially I kind of liked the packaging and I thought it was like really unique and different and I kind of liked the shape of it, but I suppose when you get down to the practicalities of that kind of packaging, I've seen people swatching the pans, and it seems like some of the pans, because of the shape of them, they're kind of hard to get your finger into, and that kind of stuff obviously is a little bit annoying. The shapes of the pans are all quite different, and then they also have different depths so that they're all like an equal amount of product in each of the pans, but they're just slightly different. Like some of them are bigger than others, but they're deeper, if you get me. I was also chatting to a friend during the week, and we were talking about the packaging, and she has recently been through cancer, and she was speaking about how the packaging is a little bit kind of off-putting for her because of the medical clinical kind of connotation with the packaging, so she finds it quite off-putting, and that's something that I didn't even consider. And I suppose that speaks to my privilege of not having been through that experience, but I really thought about that when she said it, and I was like, oh god, I didn't actually think about that point of view of like, these products obviously have that feel to them. It's supposed to look like clinical, like some of the packaging is supposed to look like syringes and that kind of thing, and with these palettes kind of looking like a little bit like a bedpan or a emesis base and that kind of thing. I hadn't considered that that would be an issue for some people. If you've spent time in hospitals, if you've been through any kind of issues with your health, you might find this kind of packaging really, really strongly off-putting. So that is also something to consider. I initially really liked the packaging. I thought, oh, it's kind of different, you know. It's nothing like the original packaging. The original packaging is so unique. It's kind of like artwork, you know, and I liked how all of the pans were the same. They were all that rectangular shape. They were easy to use. So I liked that element. Obviously, the palette wasn't flat. It had that kind of raised, kind of sculptural quality to it. But these palettes are probably a little bit more difficult to store because they have that kind of rounded shape. So you can't really store it anyway, but like flat or like standing up, kind of, maybe if it's wedged in between other makeup. Then the other issue for me would be the reflective surface. So these are like mirror like outer packaging, and I know myself, and that kind of packaging really annoys me. Like, it gets so dirty, you get fingerprints on it, you're constantly having to wipe it down, because I like my packaging to be really nice and kind of like new looking. So even like when I think about filming with palettes, any kind of a mirrored or reflective or very shiny surface is so hard to film with because you have to wipe it down. I hate when I'm filming something and I can see fingerprints on my packaging. I just like to have it kind of looking like as nice as possible. I think visually it looks cool, but I think practically it's just not a very practical palette. You know, the shapes of the pans, the surface of the palette, the medical connotations, all of that kind of stuff. It just, I suppose, overall is more of a negative than a positive when you kind of consider everything. It's also plastic, it's not metal. I think if they had been actual metal, that would have been like so incredible, but they are plastic. So for a palette that is €110, $110, I'm not sure what it is in pounds, but it is an expensive palette. I know you're getting 14 shades, but it's still expensive, and for it to have plastic packaging and kind of packaging that's not very practical, it does put me off. Because initially when I saw these palettes, I thought I'm gonna buy the silver one, which is the one that is the same as the Industrial 2, and that has all of the same shades. So that one's exactly the same, just upgraded formulas, and then the first one is only 10 of the shades are the same. So I wasn't going to buy Core 1. I would have probably, if I had the budget for it, I probably would have bought Core 2, because I kind of really wish that I had bought Industrial 2. I really loved that colour story and I loved the look of the formulas. But the more I think about it, the more I just think I've just bought that bellabeautébar Coalescence palette, which is incredible. Like, the shimmers in that are just unbelievable. I have like a lot of Sea Beauty eyeshadows that are so shiny and so incredible, and they're in packaging that's so much more practical. They're so much more affordable, and I suppose overall it's just not something that I could justify buying. Like, even though I do want to try the shades and the formulas, I'm not going to at this point in time. I'm not going to say never, but I don't have the budget for it right now. And also it's as far as I know, it's a permanent part of her collection. So you will be able to buy this at a later date, probably with a discount code or something like that. Like obviously in November, like Black Friday's coming up, the brands are always doing like 20% off for that. So you're never going to have to pay that full price for that. You can pay, you know, it's not like with the first two palettes where they were limited edition and they were limited edition. These are, as far as I know, they are permanent parts of her collection. So I suppose what I would say is it's really to do with what your preference are when it comes to packaging, when it comes to shades, when it comes to formulas. You know, like I said, I have watched videos of people comparing the two of them. The Core 1 palette is not something that I'm going to buy because I have the original Industrial 1 palette. The Core 2 I considered buying, and I'm still considering it maybe down the line. It's not something I'm going to buy right now. I just wanted to chat about it because it's a brand that I really loved when it first launched. I really loved that first industrial collection. I bought a box that had the palette, the brow gel, the lip lac and the mascara, and I used that palette so much and it's one of my favourite palettes. So obviously I'm going to be interested in these new versions of the palettes. Next up is a new brand and it is Vanngo Beauty. So this is obviously Vanngo, he's a makeup artist. This is his new brand and I was so excited to see this because I've followed him on social media for years. I've watched his YouTube channel for years since he started it, and it must be about five years now that he's had that channel. But I absolutely love his work. I love his videos. I think that he's very generous with sharing his knowledge and sharing his techniques, and he does just the most incredible makeup that is quite recognizable. He has like this very unique style. He's obviously quite well known for doing Selena Gomez's makeup and among loads of other people. Julianne Moore, I know he does. So he's like, you know, been working in the industry for years. He has you know, obviously a lot of experience as a working makeup artist. So those are always brands that interest me, especially when it's somebody whose work I admire and who I have followed for years. He has come out with 8 palettes, which are $49 each. It's like a wardrobe of color stories. So he has like, there's like a blue, there's a purple, there's like a peachy one, there's like a rosy one, there's like more neutrals, there's a cool tone. So he has done all of these like little kind of color stories of like, you know, blue tones, purple tones, green tones, that kind of thing. There are 8 shades in each of the palettes and yeah, they're $49. Then he has the creamy matte longwear lipstick, which is $29, and there are 18 shades of that. There are 9 shades of the accentuating longwear lip liner, and those are $24. Then there is the longwear waterproof precision gel eyeliner, and there are 10 shades of that. There is the soft velvet creamy Kohl liner that is €22, and there is 3 shades of that one. Then there is the very beautiful velvet blush, which is $32, and there are 6 shades of that, and that's a velvet creamy powder. And then there are 6 shades of the soft focus blurring matte powder bronzer, and that's $38. I was so excited to see this. I've watched a couple of people doing reviews of it. I love the idea of the palettes that are all different color stories. I really like that. He's obviously thinking about that from a makeup artist point of view of like, you know, if you're going to set and you know that you're going to be doing like a purple look, you'll bring your purple palette and all that kind of stuff. And I know that's how a lot of makeup artists work, where they will have a magnetic palette with all of their purple eyeshadows from various brands in it. So the issue with this brand is it's currently only shipping to the US, so we can't get it here. There is no current date for when it's coming to Europe or anywhere else around the world. So I can't get it, even if I wanted to. But I really love everything about the look of this brand. Obviously I'm only going by the visuals so far. Obviously I've seen some reviews and they seem to be all really positive so far. I haven't looked too much into it because I know you can't get the products here. So I'm kind of like trying to not tempt myself because I obviously can't get my hands on any of this stuff. But overall, I love the red packaging. I know that not everyone likes that, but I love that straight away he has a very clear vision of what he wants this brand to be. The red packaging is something that's quite different. Obviously it's quite vibrant. I like that it's different from, you know, the black, gold, silver, all of that kind of stuff, the millennial pink. I like that it's like this really vibrant orange red, which is a shade of red that I would kind of associate with him, because he does a lot of like really sultry, smoky like eye looks, but then like this kind of like a vibrant orange red lipstick, and I love how that looks. So it is a shade of red that I would have associated with him, which is probably a weird thing to say, but it is like kind of one of his signature looks, is that like orange red, that really vibrant matte lipstick, and then kind of like a smoky like brown eye. So I really love the packaging. It stands out. It's something that you're going to immediately see in your collection, which I like, because so many brands all just have the same packaging and it's kind of hard to see, especially black. So many black brands just have black packaging. As far as I know, I think all of the products are made in Italy, which is obviously a good thing. And then the price points to me seem very fair and reasonable. They seem to be kind of in line with other brands from makeup artists of a similar caliber. Obviously I haven't tried the brand. I don't know if I'm going to even be able to try the brand within the next like year or so, because if they don't ship here, I'm not going to be able to try it out. So that's unfortunate, but I know like when you're starting off launching a brand, you're running on obviously certain limitations. You know, he wasn't able to obviously launch with international shipping. Very few brands do that, if any. I'm really interested to see more reviews and to see how he does and see how he adds to the line. I could definitely see him doing complexion, because he's very, very big on complexion and prep and skincare. And if you've watched any of his videos, you know that he like goes straight from like the skincare prep like right the whole way through the makeup. So I could definitely see him doing complexion and doing like a really good shade range. I would kind of expect that from him, because he works with so many different models and people. So if he was to do complexion, I would really expect him to have like an amazing shade range. Yeah, I'm definitely very, very curious to see how this brand does. I'm curious to see what people think of it, and whether it's like a brand that's kind of more for makeup artists, or whether it kind of translates to the kind of everyday consumer as well, because obviously when you're launching a brand, you want it to work for both. And I think most makeup artist brands that are successful have considered both the makeup artist and the everyday consumer. He's somebody that I really admire, and I am so happy to see this brand coming from him. And I just love the red packaging. I love the looks of all the products, and I'm really interested to see how it does, and I really hope it's successful. When he does ship to Europe, I will definitely want to try some things, and hopefully by then we'll have like lots of different reviews so that I can kind of like see what products I think would really work for me. So that is Hung Vanngo Beauty. If you have tried it, please let me know. Okay, so I'm going to just talk about an Irish brand that I don't think I've ever mentioned in my new makeup releases, but I saw that they were releasing this new product and I was really interested in it because it's a kind of formula that I tend to really like. So it is Sculpted by Aimee, and they are releasing the cream cushion foundation tomorrow, I think, the 24th. Yeah, it's the 23rd today. So yeah, they're releasing this product tomorrow. It's a cream cushion foundation. It is made in South Korea. It has like a mesh top on it, I think, and the whole idea is that you can customize your coverage by applying more or less. So the thing I was interested about this is because a lot of cushion foundations don't have a great shade range, and that's only started to change really in the past like maybe year and a half with brands like Tier, Parnell. I've tried their one recently. I think Romand and Unleashia. There are a few brands that have really expanded their shade range. This cushion foundation, it comes in 30 shades, and it's very rare that you see a Western brand do a cushion foundation, but it's even more rare to see them do it with a really good shade range. So I'm really curious to see what this is like. I'm curious to see reviews of it. I'm curious to see what the shade range is like. There is SPF 30 in it, and it's kind of like most cushion foundations, that kind of has that skincare base to it. There is niacinamide, glycerin and long wear polymers in it for a silky finish that lasts all day. Yeah, I'm really interested to try this, especially because I don't think I've seen any Irish brand do a cushion foundation. Brands tend to release these cushion foundations exclusive to Asia and only do like 3 or 4 shades, if even that. So I'm really interested to see an Irish brand do a cushion foundation that is manufactured in South Korea and that has 30 shades. I think that's really interesting. So I will definitely be on the lookout for reviews of that, and just to kind of see, is there a shade for me? What is the kind of shade distribution like? All of that kind of stuff. At the moment, I don't know, but obviously it's out tomorrow. So when I am editing this video, I can probably add images of the shade range in, because that will be released at this stage. The only product that I've tried from them so far is their concealer, the Satin Silk Concealer. And I thought it was a gorgeous formula and it was a great shade match for me. But the packaging was just really not great. It kind of leaked everywhere. It was so hard to open. I ended up just throwing it out because I couldn't actually get it open and it was so messy. And they actually changed the packaging shortly after I bought it. So it's not the same packaging anymore, but I did really like the formula and the shade. And it's a brand that gets a lot of love from kind of not just like Irish content creators, but like the international beauty community and like friends of mine who have tried the products. I know my mom has one of the foundations. I'm not sure which one she has, but she loves that. And like friends of mine who are not content creators love the brand as well. So I always think that's nice to see, and it's great to see an Irish brand doing well. So I'm curious to see what that's like. I suppose because I'm a big fan of cushion foundations, that one really piqued my interest because it's a formula that I tend to really like, but it's always so hard to get your shade in a cushion foundation. So fingers crossed it's a really good shade range and a really good shade distribution, because that would be amazing. So yeah, I'm really interested in that one. Another product that I'm really interested in is the new KJH.Brand product, which is called the Precision Sculpture Stylo. And this is launching today, the day I'm filming this video. I have seen a couple of people using it. I've seen them kind of use it on the brand social media, and Katie herself, I've seen her use it a bit. So the whole idea behind this is that it is a multi-purpose contouring stylo. So they come in 5 shades that are all quite neutral, earthy kind of, I suppose, contour shades, and they are for contouring lips, carving the brow bone, adding dimension to the eyes, and you could probably use it on your face as well. I haven't seen them do that, but I think they might have done like a video where they've sculpted the cheeks with it. So it is a unique micro diameter for detailed sculpting, soft matte texture, long wearing formula. So there are 5 shades. So it's like Etch, which is a neutral nude beige, Chisel, a cool taupe, Engrave, a warm chocolate brown, Carve, a neutral rich brown, and then Forge, which is a cool black brown. So this is something that I'm interested in because I don't think I've really seen a product like this. I know obviously like there are brands that do those kind of like thicker lip liners that are meant more for a soft kind of a blurring effect, but I haven't seen one that is specifically for like a multi-purpose use. So I do think the idea of a product that you can use on your lips, your eyes, your face is a really good idea, because I think, you know, people want to get more out of their products, and I like the idea of having a product that I can really get the use out of and finish up and buy a new one, rather than a product that I will never finish, you know, that kind of way. Yeah, I'm just very interested in seeing what this is like. Obviously it's a soft matte texture, so I don't know how that would work on your eyes. You know, if it's creamy enough, it'll be fine, but it just might be more of a soft matte finish. So yeah, curious to see what these are like in person. Obviously I can't buy every new product, but I will be looking out for reviews of this because it's a really interesting concept to me. And I have some of those kind of thicker stylos for your lips from Korean brands, and then I actually have one from an Irish brand, Poco Beauty. So I'm curious to see what the KJH version of that product is and how it will work on your lips and eyes and your face and all that kind of stuff. So one that I'm very interested in. It's €26 and $24. So it's kind of, you know, middly kind of a range. Last but not least is the Blend Bunny collaboration with My Pang, or Microsoft as you might know her. I love her makeup. I mean, look, who doesn't love her makeup? If you follow her, you know, like she's like a true artist. Like she really is. She's so inspiring. Her work is like just a completely different level. She's just like a real, like, true makeup artist. This is such an interesting collaboration. It just completely makes sense when you know her and you followed her. So she has done this collaboration that is all kind of inspired by mold, based around the various different colors of different molds, which is very, very fascinating. The whole idea behind this is just, it's kind of like truly inspired. It's really not something that anybody else could have thought of except her. I mean, I just really think that it's just such an incredibly unique idea. It's amazing. But I also think that she has kind of thought of it from a makeup artist's perspective as well, because the palette is, let's see, it is how many shades? So it's a 20 pan palette of all mattes. It looks amazing. Like, you wouldn't know by looking at it that it's inspired by shades of mold, but when you kind of see her inspiration image, it really makes sense. But I loved all the colors that she's done. They're kind of like really earthy, rusty, just really unique shades, and the imagery to go along with the launches is beautiful as well. But then there is also an iridescent topper palette. There are 6 shades, various shades of shimmer. They can allow you to kind of customize the palette. You can apply these shimmer shades over any of the mattes and create a completely different shade. So I really love that idea as well. There is a lip glaze which is inspired by bioluminescent algae, sometimes called blue tears, and it has a cloudy grey base with sparkles that flip from blue to purple with a light honey scent. I think the whole collection is really unique. I kind of wouldn't have expected anything less from her, and it's great to see her kind of like having this success and collaborating with Blend Bunny. I have tried Blend Bunny before. I bought the Robert Welch collaboration. I loved that palette. They have 2 lip glosses as well, which again were quite kind of along the lines of this. There's one that's kind of like a purple glitter one, and then there's like a green that kind of neutralizes your lip shade. So I already know I like the formulas. Obviously, I'm not going to buy this. I'm trying to really not buy makeup at the moment, but I love the look of this. I love the inspiration images. I love her images that she's done to go along with it. I love the packaging. I just think it's something that's really different. And in the beauty industry, it's really difficult to do something that is really unique and different. I mean, I think it's different. I don't know if anyone or any brand has ever done anything like this before. Obviously, it's a palette of mattes and it's a palette of toppers. But for me, it's about the inspiration and her like vision for this collection, and I just think it's really, really beautiful, despite the fact that it's inspired by mold. The palette is $42, the topper palette is $32, and then the lip glaze is $15. So I think the prices are really good. The Blend Bunny quality is really good. I really loved their formulas, the ones that I've tried from that Robert Welch collaboration palette. I love her as a creator. I think that, you know, she's one of my favorite people to follow on Instagram, because I just love watching her apply makeup and come up with ideas. It's always just so inspiring. So I'm really, really happy for her. And I think it was a really clever idea from Blend Bunny, because it's a really just a good fit to me. It just kind of all makes sense. Unless you're a fan of mattes, the matte palette there's just no point, because it's like a lot of colourful mattes. The iridescent topper palette, that could be something that could be quite useful if you are somebody who already has a bunch of mattes or like liquid or cream eyeshadows and you want like toppers for those. That could be something that's worth getting. And then the lip glaze, I love the idea of this, but I know it's not going to be for everyone. But it is quite sheer, so it's kind of like a cool toned shimmery lip glaze, and their lip formulas are really nice as well. You can admire someone and really love their work and love them as a creator, and it doesn't mean that you have to go and spend money you don't have on a collection that they've collaborated on. And that is something that I need to learn as much as anyone does. But just to say, like, you can admire this collection and you can share it, and you can like take inspiration from your own collection and kind of try and do similar things. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and buy this whole collection. unless it's something that you really want to do and you have the budget and you really want to, you think that this looks amazing. To be honest, if I had the money, I probably would buy this collection because I just absolutely love how it looks. I just feel like I would have so much fun playing with these products, but it's also kind of, you know, a very specific idea, and it's probably not going to be for everybody. But I think if you're a makeup artist and you're someone who likes to play with makeup, or you're like a working makeup artist, you might find this kind of collection really, really helpful, and it might be like a really nice addition to your kit. I think all of the pans, as far as I know, are removable, and they can be like moved around or put into like a smaller palette, because I know that she's all about that kind of like customizing your collection and you know, making smaller palettes and kind of like condensing your collection down. So yeah, I just think I love this whole idea, and I know it's not going to be for everyone, but I just think it's amazing, and I'm really excited to see reviews of this and see what it's like, and to see her playing with it, because I love her content. It's just so inspiring. I just think that she's just such a unique artist in the social media space, which is difficult to come across. So yeah, I think that's great. So I'm gonna leave it there. I could talk all day about all the other new products that are coming out, but I just wanted to try something a little bit different this time and really kind of think about the products that I'm going to talk about and what my perspective on them is, instead of just looking and kind of giving my first impressions. This is more, I suppose, of a considered second or third impressions, if you will. The point of this kind of a video is not just to de-influence myself, but to also de-influence you, and just say, like, you don't need to buy every new release. You don't even need to buy one new release. You can just use what you have. You can stay within your means and your budget and just like repurchase products you've run out of, or focus on skincare, or like just repurchase your mascara. You don't have to buy like 10 eyeshadow palettes or like 20 new lipsticks. It can just be moderation, and that's fine. And you can use social media, and like if you're somebody who likes YouTube and content, you can use that as inspiration rather than as like influencing you to buy something. My whole thing is that I would rather people watch my videos and get something from it, like a technique or a look, or, you know, think about a product that they have that they're going to go and use tomorrow because they're excited to use it again, or like a shade color combination or something. I would rather that than somebody go and buy something that they don't want or need just because they're like, they feel like they need to buy something. I mean, that's fine as well. Like, treat yourself, like do, you know, do what suits you. But I also think it's good for me to talk through these things and talk through new products and really consider, do I need that? No, probably not. Do I want it? No, probably not. Have I got something that's better than that in my collection already? Probably, yeah. Like yesterday I posted a video of like a runway makeup look from an Anna Sui show from like the early 90s, and I just looked at that and I thought, okay, how can I recreate that with what I already have in my collection? And I just love doing things like that, and that's what really like fuels me with my content. I love recreating things, and like, how can I use what's already in my collection to do something new, because there are so many different variations of what you can do with what you already have. I mean, look, I'm not opposed to spending money on makeup, you know that, but I also have to like reel it in and like really consider and like use what I have. So that is it. That's the video. I hope that was interesting in some way. I hope you got something from it, whether it was just entertainment or whatever. If you've tried any of these products, please do let me know, because I'm always interested to know what people think of new products. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and if you're not yet subscribed, please do subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week with another video.